Okay guys, I actually did find the game during the break, and it has started immediately with very fast picks, so we will get into it right away. I'm going to switch the camera as I always forget to do. On the Radiant side, we have In Love with Cheese on the Meepo, Hitman on the Silencer, Kusomania, I'm going to butcher names, I apologize, Karik on Mirana, and Styles on the Spectre heading towards the bot lane. And on the Dire side, we have GG on Nyx Assassin, heading towards offlane, and a Tinker mid, played by Dota Hawk. It is kind of hard to talk with these prediction taunts. Dow on the Void, Coldblood on Disruptor, and rounding up the lineup will be a Jungle, Furion by Chester RLP. And I believe this will be a roaming Mirana, Silencer, Spectre in the bot lane, Maple mid, and a Doom off lane for the Radiant side with Tinker mid, and I basically described the lanes for the Dire. Looks like we might have an engagement here with Silencer and Mirana heading towards this Nyx Assassin, though the trusty Treant will defend Nyx Assassin with his life. Silencer is going to chase off Nyx with Glaze of Wisdom. Nyx not choosing to skill anything yet, as he does not want to get an early point in Spike Carapace and be penalized for it later on. In bot lane we look, but did actually miss the blocks, which will go a bit in Nyx's favor as he got half the block off and did block the bull camp, so all he has to do is play carefully for the first minute or so, and the wave will push into him. Mid lane, though, we have Mirana attempting to get an arrow off on Tinker, and Tinker is a little low as he tanked some from the crease, and so did Meepo. And if the arrow does land, this could be our first blood. So Mirana waiting for the right moment. I'm sorry, guys. And the arrow is actually going to go out and just hit the creep, so Tinker does know that Mirana is here now and does not seem to be scared in the slightest bit as he's harassing Meepo out of the lane. Though Meepo does get up the very quick bottle, as I assume Tinker has soon. I'm looking towards the top lane, just a little harassed by Disruptor onto the Doom. He did get a Centaur creep in mid lane. Meepo is actually going to get the first blood, as I assume Mirana hit the arrow onto Tinker, though with the laser, Tinker is actually going to get away on 37 health. Mirana choosing not to go for the kill. Actually, she is. If she just can get one hit, she can get it. Missing the arrow, and this is going to be a costly chase if she goes too far for this. Though is giving Meepo the free farm for the time being, and is going to choose to go away. And a little love tap from Nature's Prophet, canceling her clarity and obviously making Mirana go back to base now, as she has no mana, no boots, and it's only level 1. Does sap a little bit of experience from Nature's Prophet just to annoy him, but not much more than that. And as I'm not sure if I mentioned, Doom did pick up a Centaur creep, which is okay for him in the early game if Void does go on his stomp and hopefully run away with Scorched Earth. So far, no out of the ordinary builds by any of the players. As we see, Meepo did hit level 3 and got a point in Divided We Stand, and is now going to scout out the rune and possibly jungle with the second Meepo and stack up some camps. Nature's Prophet did actually go for Basilius before getting into the Global phase, not too common anymore, though both rushing Basilius and rushing Glove of Haste are both equally okay builds. I myself prefer. And actually, we're going to see a TP mid as Meepo does net onto the Tinker, though with the March. This could be costly for Meepo. Arrow does miss, and Tinker is going to get the first blood on Meepo. And Mirana is going to have to scurry away. Nature's Prophet not necessarily needed there, as Tinker can handle himself, though it was nice for the moral support. And it is Tranquil Boots picked up on Doom. Not looking for a fast Midas, though the Tranquil Boots are very helpful out in this lane, and I do agree with it for most offlaners in the current meta, as they are a free non-stop salve unless you get slapped in the face. which you should not be doing in the offlane. And a little bit of harass going out by the Void. Does get a lucky bash, though not much past that is going to go onto that lane for the time being, as Disruptor has rotated towards the bottom and is attempting to deward these Ancients, so Tinker can stack it later. And that is actually going to be a dead Tinker and a dead Meepo. I believe Tinker was killed first, yes, so Meepo did get the experience. Not sure how that went down. I'm guessing that Mirana helped, though she doesn't have any mana. So, I'm sorry I missed it, so I would not know. And bot lane, it looks like we will have another Spectre rushing Radiance, I would assume, with the 1700 gold. Actually, this one is choosing not to go boots. We'll see if it works out this time. And she gets it up at a fast time. She does already have 1700 gold. 4 minutes in, so the 29 last hits are clearly helping her out. Nyx attempting to get a little experience on this lane. Does have level 4 up and a point in Mana Burn and a point in Spectre, so nothing out of the ordinary for him. Though, as we can see, just why he fell out of favor as tiers like Doom, and we'll hold on that in a second, as they attempt to engage onto Tinker and everyone goes back and licks their wounds. Yeah, as we see, just as I was trying to say, Tinker, or jeez, Nyx Assassin did fall off a little bit because of respect of those two heroes like Doom and Center, who are just tankier and more efficient in the offlane with their level 6s. Though Nyx is trying his best to do what he can. He is rotating back here now, and they're attempting to get a kill onto Meepo. The stun is going to miss, and the missiles are just going to tickle them for the time being. 4 mid for the Dire, possibly looking to push this tower, though everyone is fairly low except for Tinker and Disruptor. Nyx is probably going to look to go back to the bottom lane and contest the Spectre to the best of his ability. Balancer is camping the bottom rune, and this will be a little bit of harass by each side. I'm assuming that neither will die. The Nyx will probably be forced back to base now. And Void does actually have Chrono up, and Doom has Doom up. So we'll see how this fight plays out. Meepo got a haste rune and before the Tinker could get to it, so if he can catch out this Tinker here, this could be a dead Tinker, though Tinker does have both Laser Missile and Heat-Seeking Missiles up, which could be a lot of damage on this Meepo if he gets isolated. And Fioran is attempting to TP on the back end. Tinker is actually not going to even try to harass off this Meepo. It's a little strange for him, not really sure why he didn't even try to save his own life, I guess, assuming that he was dead anyways. And that is actually going to be a Midas on our Spectre, so a little bit different build from the last game we saw. And I don't know how I missed a double kill, but I did, and it was a double kill because Nyx was killed instantly as he TP'd to the mid lane right after Meepo killed Tinker. So overall, Meepo off to a good start, getting his treads up. He is 2-2-1. Could be doing better on both sides, but everyone is doing their best to get their farm up. However, even despite the Void late game, a Spectre and a Doom and a Meepo, you can even throw Mirana and Silencer in, so basically the whole Radiant lineup is designed to go into the late game fairly well, as Doom is going into a Midas, I believe, with his glove of haste. And the arrow is going to hit, and on top of a Doom, this should be a very dead Void if he chooses to use the Doom, and yes, he does. This Void will be going down unless he manages to chew professionally, and he does not. Ancient's Prophet and Nyx attempt to come to help, but they do not have their level 6 or really any other tool to help him. And this could be dead Mirana, as she does not have a leap up, and she should be dead here if Nyx just throws out the stun, which I'm not really sure why he's doing, and looking just to be greedy, I guess, and take the kill. So a little aggressive by the Mirana, not sure why she did that. And Silencer is actually going to this TP home, as he was harassing under the Dire tier 1. Void is back up on this top lane after his death, does have treads up. No Midas or Mask of Madness up at the time. Tinker's looking to gank this Spectre, though looking, I guess, just to walk up, say hi, get some creeps. Force out a TP from the Mirana. If she does land an arrow, this will be a dead Tinker.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Even though Spectre is low on mana, And the arrow just misses. That was really close there. Silencer and Meeper, I don't know if they're fast enough to catch the Tinker, as long as he does have an invis rune, so he can just walk away from this. And he will choose to. They do place a sentry for him. So Silencer is taking a lot of this damage, not sure why, and he could die here. Vicious Prophet is going to choose to TP onto him, and this should be a very dead Silencer. No. And he does deny himself. In top lane, I believe there was a Chrono. Yes, there was a Chrono on top of this Doom, and Void was able to get the gold kill. Did not see the engagement, so I just assumed that it was a fair trade on both sides, and then Doom did not realize that Void had Chrono, and Void slapped him a couple of times. In mid lane, there's not significant progression to Tinkers with the travels, as we saw last game, though. However, if he gets it up within 15 minutes, he should be a-okay to get that farm up. And the only unusual thing I have seen so far on these heroes is a 3 points in Curse the Silence on Silencer, which is not too uncommon. However, past the second point, it's significantly more efficient to go into your Glades of Wisdom and Last Word, as they do more damage. Even though the damage over time is nice. This is a level 8 Void because of his kills. And he's farming fairly nicely. Doom will have a Midas up here soon, so the Radiant looking to go for the late game while still getting some nice kills up. Actually, we have a Meatbone and Mirana smoked, and going into the jungle, we'll see what path they take. Judging that they see no one here, I'm guessing they are going to head toward the tower, and yes, they are. If they catch out this next before level 6, this could be detrimental to any farm he will get in the future, as he is already not having the most fun game. And they are going to just throw the whole book on him. Spectre does ult, and that's going to be a 5-man Chrono being Meepo. And he's going to get one kill instantly, and that's going to be a Doom on to the Void. Void will get the kill on Silencer, and on the back lane, Fioran will die to this Meepo if he is not careful. And yes, he will die, and that will be a dead Void. Tinker does try to ward off the rest of the team, but it will overall, in the end, if no one else engages, which it does not look like anyone will, be a 2-for-2. Chrono down, Doom down, and I do not believe it's... Nope, Global Silence was not used there because Silencer does not have it, and Nyx does not have Vendetta. So 2 ultimates wasted, 1 on each side. Not wasted, but you know what I mean. And that is actually 874 gold up for the Doom, on top of that Midas in another smoke. Meepo is looking to get more kills, however Doom is going back to base saying, man, I gotta go get some mana. And yes, that was his exact phrasing. I'm listening to their team comms, I promise. And with that Midas, there is actually 2,500 gold on this Spectre in the 12-minute mark, so probably going for that Radiance, as I predicted earlier. I did not predict the Midas. However, Radiance. As my only comment. And Nyx did get level 6 up, so he's just going to vent it away from this Mirana and Meepo. And he's actually going to see a haste rune. Do not know if he can use it with his Vendetta in time, as Mirana does use her ult now, and this should give Spectre ample escape if Nyx chooses to go in on her. Silencer has actually TP towards the bottom lane and does have Global Silence. They are going to go on the Spectre now with the Glimpse. The Global Silence is going to be dropped, and Spectre could still die here because of the haste rune onto the Nyx Assassin, and yes, Spectre is going to die with the Nature's Prophet ult bouncing around. Silencer is going to get tickled a little bit, and this should be a push on the bottom lane, as no one looks like they're attempting to TP to the bottom lane. Not sure where Tinker died. Oh, he died to a Doom. They wrapped around on him. Okay, I apologize, I did not see that one. And this will be a 4-5 on the Radiant Tier 1. Looking to defend this, possibly coming around the back with Mirana, Doom, and Meepo. Nyx and Fioran should get out here, as this is going to be a costly engagement if they do not get out. Spectre is going to drop her ult, and this is going to be a dead Nyx and Fioran unless they pull something crafty. And that is actually landed our arrow onto the Nyx Assassin. He is going to Vendetta away and actually get the kill on the Mirana. Nice trade for him. However, he is going to die now. The Void does get a Chrono, so nice plays on both sides. And he's actually stuck in the trees, so I said nice plays, and then I have to immediately take it back, as Void pulls the greatest Chrono of his life. It does allow Nyx Assassin to get away, though I'm assuming with his freshly purchased Mask of Madness, he was hoping to get some kills in that chrono. And that is actually a Necro Book 1 on our Furion, so again, looking for more push. And I believe there was another item purchased. Yes, there was an urn on the Nyx Assassin. Again, good item for your ganking heroes, though Nyx has not been as successful with it. He does have 3 kills, so I take that back. He's doing okay. As best as a Nyx can do in the current meta, unless he's snowball in control. That is a Blink Dagger up on the Doombringer, looking possibly to blink in on this Void right now, as he does not have Chrono up, and it would not matter if he got doomed anyways. Dire needs to be careful here, as they're going to push, and that is going to be a doom on to the Void. Mirana ult for the Radiant, and Void is going to walk away. Silencer ult on top of the Dire, and Void is going to die to the burn damage of Doom, and they are attempting to kill the double damage Nyx Assassin, and they will be successful, as Doom does have 1 point in level of death, and this will be a very dead Nyx Assassin. Actually, Nyx is managing to survive here, and he was going to back off, so I take back everything I said. Just ignore me when I predict kills, because it does not happen. The game likes to jinx me. And Meepo does have the Aghanim Scepter coming out to him, so that is going to be his 4th Meepo. More Meepos, more money, is the phrase I like to use. Nature's Prophet will take the tower top, getting up his 2nd level of Necronomicon. It will be looking to push more, and more, as we see the Dire side is favored for that style of play, since they do not want to take it late game against Spectre and basically the rest of the Dire squad, who all scale very well, as I mentioned earlier, into the late game, especially with the Midas on Spectre and Doom. If we look towards the net worth, Radiant is actually on top with all 3 of their cores, though their supports are on the bottom, being very poor in buying wards, dust, etc., etc. So Radiant is not out of it yet, as their cores are on the top, as I mentioned, though they possibly need some farm on their supports if they would like to take this late game, or even just through the mid game, as a poor Mirana and a poor Silencer cannot do as much as they could with items, clearly. And Mirana is going to throw an arrow, actually going to miss, and wasted her leap there, so could be a little dangerous for her, though no one is looking to attack her at the time being. Bottom lane, we see Tinker playing with Death against Meepo, kind of teasing him a little bit as Nature's Prophet ult bounces off of him, and Meepo is just going to leave the premise. Mid lane, we see Radiant grouping up a little bit. Void is possibly going to leap onto this Spectre, and yes, Tinker is coming in from the backside, so this is going to be a dead Spectre, with Nature's Prophet also TPing in, and the rest of the Dire team semi-rotating top. Spectre is not having a fun game. She does have good farm, and will get this Radiance up by 20 minutes, I would assume, if she does get some farm after her death. And that is an arrow landed on Nyx Assassin. Global Silence actually used, but they might not get this kill, so that could be very bad for the Radiant, and yes, it will be, as now Global Silence will be down for 2 minutes. And I apologize, I have to keep checking the cooldowns. My brain is dead today. A little harassment on to the Mirana. She should be dead to another home-seeking missile, or heat-seeking. Home-seeking, jeez. And Spectre is actually ult, looking to get some pick-offs, possibly on the Tinker, and yes, she does go on the Tinker. Does actually miss her dagger, and Tinker is attempting to juke here with the next following in suit. Pops a DD, Furon is going to TP in here, and they just need one more hit on the Tinker, and they're not going to get it with Disruptor glimpsing. Impale is actually going to be whipped, though Spectre should be trapped in here and will die. So a bit greedy by her, a bit of a misplay. I'm sorry, actually not a misplay by the Nature's Prophet, because he's on the same team as Tinker. Guys, I apologize again.
Radiant's top tower
It was a long day, and I am trying my best not to make too many word flaws, but I do it all the time. Actually, Necrobook messed up by, or perfectly by the, okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna shut up. Disruptor ult dropped onto the Doom and now on the Meepo with the Glimpse back, and that will be both of them dead on top of the Spectre that was already dead, and this should be a finished Roshan for the Dire. And what I was trying to mention before I got so rudely interrupted by the actual game is Dire, the Nature's Prophet, dropped his Necronomicon unit on the cliff. Luckily it was the archer who can shoot from the high ground. And a little bit of harassed by the silencer, though he's going to just have to scurry away as the Dire will finish this Roche and possibly look to take it the mid-tier 1 and then tier 2s after that. We will see. And they did give the Aegis to the Void, probably the best choice at this point. And Tinker is a nice choice, though if he's caught out, there's not much saving him unless he is fast with his reactions. Rana throwing an arrow mid does actually hit the invisible next assassin, so they know he is vendetta here if she's paying attention. I mentioned, so it does actually live by leaping away. Tinker is going to TP in, and this should be a dead tower. They actually are going to go in, Meepo, and with the Moonlight Shadow, they actually choose to disengage instead of engage, because March is very scared to fight into. Nyx is chasing out this Mirana, though does not know where she is, just knows she's throwing out arrows. And the Radiant does have a sentry here to scout out Nyx if he chooses to go back in. And Meepo actually chooses to go towards the top lane with 2 of his Meepos and other 2 defending bottom. And he has to be careful here because Nyx is actually going to go onto him, and if Void comes in with Chrono, that is going to be a global silence onto the Dire, so Meepo should be able to just move away, and that is a global silence down, but the Meepo does live. And Doom has a plate mail up, so I would assume he's going into either an Assault Crest or a Shiva's Guard. Shiva's Guards might be better in this situation for the mana pool, and the attack speed slow. And that is actually going to be a Glimpse Static Storm on top of the Spectre. Again, Spectre not having the greatest of time, cannot get this Radiance finished, getting punished very much so for her greedy build. Interior is actually choosing to TP. Nope, he just causes Meepo to have a little panic attack. Rana with this Invisor and is scouting out the top, or the mid lane, and is going to land an arrow onto this Nature's Prophet, though I don't know if she can do enough damage to kill this Huron. Though Doom is going to come in. Will he drop his Doom? He has to get out because Nyx and Nature's Prophet, or I'm sorry, Tinker are in here. And the Glimpse doesn't do anything because Doom didn't move. Chrono on the backside onto the silencer, instant up. And that leaves just Doom and Meepo alive, and could not be... Nope, Doom does blink away, so ignore my last statement. As we see, I believe this Nature's Prophet is going for either Force Staff or Dagon. I'd imagine Dagon, as he wants to be friends with Tinker and do the Laser Squad, which you should do in all of your pubs, as it is the greatest thing to do ever. I'm just kidding. Don't buy Dagon on everyone. Actually do it. Just ignore me. So Meepo does have her Aghanim Scepter and a Blink Dagger up, is going to initiate onto this Disruptor and should blow up the kill, get the kill very easily. Doom does blink in and drop the Doom onto the Nyx Assassin. Arrow is going to miss. Spectre is going to choose to go on the Nyx with Doom, and Tinker will not TP in to help his little buddy, as he said, no, you are very dead. That is a Maelstrom up for the Void. I believe he had that a little while ago. I apologize, I did not mention it. And this Aegis should be dead fairly soon. So, looks like nothing will come out of it except for the threat of an Aegis. I'm really sorry, guys, about those dry heave, or whatever you want to call them. Spectre does finally get her Radiance up, so her farm will accelerate a little bit if she can stay alive for the time being. And Tinker does have that Dagon 1. We'll see if he chooses to max the Dagon first or go for an E-Blade. Both builds are acceptable, though, as I said in the last game, E-Blade first is preferable, though max Dagon is fun. And we actually have a next hunting this Meepo is going to go on with the Tinker support, this should be a dead meeple, and yes it is. Spectre can do nothing to help, and is going to just try not to get caught, as most of the Dire team is in her junk now. And Tinker does actually get another kill mid on the Marana. I apologize that I missed that. I was too busy looking at shiny things, ergo Spectre's Radiance and Midas that are gold and pretty. Void is going to get the kill on Spectre despite the silencer ult. And this will most likely be a dead tier 1 on the bottom lane for the Radiant, as Doom cannot defend by himself and silencer's ult is down. Marana and Meepo are almost up, though this will be a tough fight with Void's Chrono still up and ready. Nature's Prophet and Tinker are pushing out the top lane, which is going to force Meepo to TP up, so they have to choose between which tower they love more, and they have chosen, I believe, this top one, as they see a juicy Nature's Prophet trying to kill it, and he should be dead unless Tinker gets the kill onto Meepo first, and yes, he does. Nature's Prophet escapes by the skin of his teeth. And Spectre will drop an ultimate onto the Dire side, though it will be to no avail. So actually Void will pop the Aegis here, and Tinker is TPing in with that glimpse back on the Spectre. I'm sorry about the delay for that. Arrow will be thrown out, and it will whiff. And Spectre will have TP to the top lane for the time being, did tank a Necro Book, so now she is going to be forced to go back to the base as her towers are slowly caving in on her. And Nyx is also going for a Dagon, so they have followed my words through my telepathic abilities that I swear to God I have. And are buying mass Dagons. Void does drop the Chrono on to Silencer there, and just instantly blows him up. Doom is going to blink in here, and is not going to get his Dagon off, or his Doom off, because of Spike Carapace and Impale. Meepo is going to TP in here and instantly blow up the Disruptor. One Meepo is going to get sent back, but that is not going to matter much. Spectral Dagger is thrown out onto Nyx Assassin, and Nyx Assassin is going to take one for the team. In theory, though Tinker did tank a 5-second arrow and does instantly blow up the two that try to come up here, Meepo is going to blink in and attempt to get the last remaining 2 kills. The Void is getting a significant amount of bashes onto this Meepo and is able to focus one down, and that will be a dead Meepo, so it will be a 4-for-3 trade, with Nature's Prophet taking the mid tower, and possibly the rest of the mid barracks. The lone survivor of the Radiant side is the Silencer, and he can't do much for his team at the moment. As I mentioned before, he does not have great farm.
Radiant's top tower is under
If we look back towards that net worth, it has actually flipped, as the Tinker, the Nature's Prophet, and the Void have
Radiant's middle barracks has
eclipsed the 3 cores of the Radiant side with all the tower kills and just the more efficient farming as the time went on, and they were able to close the map in on the Radiant. And this will probably be close to the end of our game. We will see how much longer the Radiant can defend. They do have 1 barracks down, which is never ultimate doom, haha, pun. But it is looking to be a very rough road if they would like to pull this back. And Roshan is not up yet. Again, I do not know how to read that timer whatsoever, so I'm going to just wait for the little thing to pop up in the corner, and then we will find out. If you know how to, I'll hover over it for a second, as I miss a kill on Nyx Assassin. And it respawns in 30 seconds, so there we go. The Disruptor will die bottom lane to a Spectre ult with Marana arrow. I'm assuming, yep. And Rush will be up soon, as I mentioned. Marana will pop her Moonlight Shadow now, how seen as Spectre is farming mid lane, and I believe Meepo showed himself top lane, so I'm not so sure. They are actually going to get a Doom off. Oh no, it's on the illusion. That's not great. That's really not good. Doom's not happy. Yeah, that is not great for the Doom. Had a little bit of panic there. Dropped the Doom before checking whether that was the real Void or not, and this will mean that Dire can go for Roche without contention from the Radiant if they realize it is there. Nyx is going to blink into this Meepo, and if he gets a stun off, this will be a very dead Meepo, as a whole team of Dire is collapsing onto the Meeple, and that is instantly blown up. Meeple with the DD rune top to top it off. If the Nyx picks this up, it will not be great, but he does end up picking up. And Void is actually going to Chrono the Spectre, and he can solo her without the Fion's intervention, though Fion does come in again for moral support, which is always necessary in a pub game. Guys, remember, TP in moral support with your team, even if you don't steal the kill. I'm not really sure what rants I'm going on this point, so just bear with me. And as a finished Maelstrom up for the Void, as I don't believe I mentioned, and is heading toward his Butterfly. Deso onto the Nature Prophet, so choosing only to go for a Dagger on, and this should be a dead top barracks, as Spectre is not up for another 23 seconds, and Meeple, even in those 3 seconds, will not be up in enough time to defend the second barracks that will go down. And the Dire can choose to go for Mega Creeps here, Roche, or just finish the game. I imagine they are going to go for Mega Creeps and not back out for Roche. So that is an arrow landed from the backside onto the Tinker, and that is actually going to be a Doom dropped on the Tinker with the Spectre ult. That could be a dead Tinker, and yes, it will be. Though that will be a blown up Tinker, or a blown up Doom on top of that, and a blown up Spectre. Doom will buy back. Void is attempting to get away, though, with Marana there. It could be a dead Void, and yes, it will be a dead Void. Although, no, the backtracks are real. Void will die, and on the backside we see that Tinker did buy back on top of Nyx Assassin 2. And Tinker did clean up the Meepo and the Spectre. However, did not get the Doom on his buyback. I'm not sure who all bought back there. Nyx Assassin did. And Doom bought back. So, Tinker not buy back and I'm high, or... Yeah, I apologize. No, he did buy back. So, yes, I was right the first time. Oh. Has a max Dagon now. No, actually, it has only a Dagon 3 and is going for the Ghost Scepter. And that is 2 barracks down for the Radiant side. And they're looking to hold off against this last, or hold with this last barracks. Though with Nyx taunting them in their base and the rest of the Dire team being up soon, this could be the end of the game for the Radiant. Tinker nearly kills Spectre, leaving him at 30 health top lane with his full combo. Spectre lucky to escape with her life, and that will be, I believe, a Dagon 3 onto Nature Prophet, yes. And a Butterfly finished on Void, so this should be the closing of our game, unless Radiant pulls out a miracle. With me. The Dire is going for the last barracks, and Tinker is actually choosing to march in the trees, a little bit cocky as they more than likely know where he is, but I don't know how much they can do to defend against this. Void is actually, I believe, soloing Roshan at the time. Yes, he is.
Radiant structures are fortified.
If we actually look, Doom is going to choose in. We'll see if he gets his Doom off. No, he gets instantly blown up with the Static Storm and the Dagon and everything else. Spectre does ult and chooses to go on. However, tanks a Necro Book and the rest of the damage of the Dire team. The arrow will hit Nature's Prophet. However, this is still going to be a dead barracks if the Dire does not choose to back off at the time.
Radiant's bottom barracks. Roshan
and Void did finish off that. Roshan, as we saw, it was only the second rush, so there was no cheese for him to munch on. And this will be Mega Creeps for the Dire. Global Silence has popped. Not really sure why, I think just to scare them from fountain diving. As though I believe Tinker is still going to. And the tier 4s are nearly down, so this should be the closing of this game. As I believe more than half of the hit, that's going to be a dead Nyx Assassin. And let's look at the Dagon count. Ron actually has 3 bracers, very common build. And we do have 3 Dagons on the Dire side, and that will be the closing of our game. And again, I'm not going to look at the ult chat because it's very negative, and negative is bad. And if we look at the game, again, Silencer and Rana did not have the greatest of a game. Were very poor, focusing on making sure their cores got farm. However, it was not enough in the end, as the Dire just got too many pickoffs and pushed in then with the Nature's Prophet and the Tinker that are very helpful at pushing, with Void to zone the rest of the Dire or the Radiant team out. Overall, well executed by the Dire, as they were not at the top in the beginning. They did start to turn it around when they got a couple kills on Spectre. It was very back and forth, and they did pull out in the end. I believe this is going to be the last game for tonight, guys. I will post the games, or the best cast that I choose tomorrow, along with a couple of other videos that I'll explain. I had a fail video the other week that I will post, and I will also post an analysis cast of a weird build that I had. And if any of those are to your liking, please leave it in the YouTube comments, or message me on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, etc., etc. And I will look to make them regular series. Anything else you want, please let me know. I'm trying to make the stream better. As I said multiple times, check us out on Facebook.com/TVSour or Twitter.com/TVSour. And YouTube is, I believe, YouTube.com/SourTV. However, I will see when it switches over. And yes, I was correct. And it's the same goes for Twitch, as I assume you are watching it on right now. Anyways, that will be all for us, guys, tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Nice casting for you. And please check out the videos tomorrow. Like, subscribe. Everything you can do to help support the channel is much appreciated. Good night.